Have you thought about moving out, but you don't know what to do or what steps to take?
I'm Alex, this is Felipe. We teach you what you need to know about your personal finances using words that you can understand without boring you to death.
Because adulting shouldn't suck. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And in the comments below, tell us what you're most worried about in regards to moving out for your first time.
We're going to go over 6 things to consider before you move out. That way when life happens, you're better prepared.
Alex and I both moved out at a young age. We didn't have anybody to tell us how to do it. We didn't have any guidelines to follow or anybody to give us advice. We just kind of had to figure it out as we went, right? Which isn't always the best thing to do.
No, trial and error totally sucks. And that's how most people have to learn, is the hard way. So if that's you, hopefully these videos can help you out. So first thing to think about when you're considering moving out is that you're gonna have to earn 3 times the amount of money you're gonna spend on rent. So if rent's like $1,000, that means you gotta have $3,000 a month that you bring in.
Things you can help do to lower that cost of that overall rent. You can look at a smaller place to rent, get a studio. You can get a roommate, or you can check to rent out a room of a house that somebody else has, right? These are all things that you can do to help lower that cost of rent because, you know, $500 for rent's a lot more doable for somebody just starting out than $1,000.
The second one you gotta consider is a security deposit, and that's usually equal to your first month's rent. So that's a lot of money in addition to actually paying that first month's rent.
The thing with the security deposit is due with your first month's rent. So if your rent's $1,000, your security deposit's $1,000. Now you have to pay $2,000 before you'll get the keys to that place.
Up front,
all at once, no payments, no installments. The security deposit's used to repair any sort of damages that you might put on that residence that you're going to stay in for that duration of time when you move out. So any stains in the carpet, any damages to the walls, doors, mailbox keys, house keys, blinds,
all of it.
All of it.
All right, so the next thing you want to consider is having roughly $500 on hand to buy all your random stuff. And by random stuff, I mean cooking stuff like pots and pans and spatulas and toiletries and personal hygiene stuff and paper towels and you name it. It adds up really quick. Even if you're getting it from the dollar store or Walmart, it still gets really expensive of just little things you never even thought.
One thing that I'll never forget, when I first moved out, I got all of this stuff that I thought that I needed. And then I go take a shower, and I did not have a shower curtain. Yeah. The things that you get used to just having there all the time with you, you know, living wherever you've been living for the duration of your life. Or
now you gotta buy it.
Now you gotta have it and provide that, so.
It adds up.
It does.
All right, the next thing you want to consider is, do you want to live alone or do you want to have roommates?
Do you want to rent a studio? Or do you want to rent a 1-bedroom apartment or a 2-bedroom apartment or a 3-bedroom apartment? Now, if you want roommates, right, maybe you want to get that 2-bedroom apartment to help split the cost. Maybe you want 2 roommates to help split that cost 3 ways instead of 2 ways.
It does make things a lot cheaper. But then if you have roommates, like for me, in college I had a couple of roommates that were all dudes. And yeah, it was a lot cheaper than paying rent on like a studio by myself. But I'm a clean freak, and then I had to deal with them peeing on the toilet or not clean up after themselves or eating my food, right? But the big benefit though, like if you go somewhere where you don't know anybody and you move away and you get people to move away with you, having roommates makes living in a new city so much better until you can actually find some new friends, right? So that is a big added bonus to having roommates in a new place, is they give you a lot more comfort and stability rather than living somewhere where you don't know anybody all by yourself.
Now, to kind of talk on the other side of that, let's say you're not moving to a new city, right? And let's say the reason why you're moving out of your house is because you want to get away from other people, like your parents or, you know, your brothers and sisters, other people that are influencing the way that you live your life day to day, right? Now, roommates are great, and typically it's a good thing to have, but there's those times where they're not. You know, I had a roommate when I first moved out, and we were great. We lived together for a year, but after that year, never had a roommate ever again, you know, because they eat your food. They're
Sometimes they don't pay their share of rent.
Yeah, sometimes they just think that they can just move out and it doesn't apply to them. So now you're in a harder spot because you have to cover this extra portion of the expenses that you weren't planning for. Hashtag emergency fund, right?
Real
That
thing.
type of stuff. Food for thought.
All things to consider.
Thing to consider number 5, location. Where do you work? Where do you go to school? What do you like to do? Is it in that area?
I hate commuting. So if I can live somewhere that's centralized to all those things, that's where I'm going to live. Or close to my friends or family, right? So I want to choose an area that's central to all those spots. That way I'm not spending extra time in the car commuting, wasting my life.
Thing to consider number 6, emergency fund.
You want to have at least 1 month's bills in your savings that you don't touch for anything except for a real emergency. So 1 month bills, when you're first getting out, that should be a goal, right? But I typically say $1,000 to $2,000 in your emergency fund to cover whenever life happens. Whether your car breaks down, you blow out a tire, whatever happens, you want to be able to weather that storm without putting on a credit card or going back and asking mommy and daddy for help, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you can do it on your own, then you're really actually adulting. All right, so as a recap, financially, you're going to need to make sure that you earn a decent amount of money with a full-time job, right? 3 times the amount you need to pay for rent, so that can get fairly expensive. You're going to need to have $500-ish saved up to pay for odds and ends for expenses. You're going to want to have money saved up for a security deposit and your first month's rent, so there's a couple grand. And then you're also going to want to have an emergency fund. You can move out without that, but I guarantee at some point you're going to regret it. So as a quick recap, financially, that's the couple things you need to have out of this list of 6. Got to have those if you want to do it right.
If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And in the comments below, tell us what you liked most about this video.
Sharing is caring. So if you've got a friend that might be a future roommate, you should probably share this video with them too.